A new security warning from America's top spy saying the biggest threat to the U.S. is not al-Qaeda, but rather security leaks that provide sensitive information to our enemies. Listen.
Terrorists and other adversaries of this country are going to school on U.S. intelligence sources, methods, and tradecraft, and the insights that they are gaining are making our job much, much harder. And this includes putting the lives of members or assets of the intelligence community at risk, as well as our armed forces, diplomats, and our citizens.
John Bolton's former U.S. ambassador to the UN, Fox News contributor back here in balmy New York City. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I tell you, I think that's going to surprise a lot of people. What do you think he's trying to tell us about these leaks?
Well, I think he's highlighting the severe damage that the leaks from Edward Snowden and, frankly, from Bradley Manning before him have done to the United States. But it's hardly accurate to say the most critical security threat we've got is our own failings. It still is our external adversaries. But I quite agree. The damage that Edward Snowden has caused is incalculable.
Really? More than all this NSA stuff, or is it all kind of lumped into the same pile?
Well, you know, the allegations about NSA spying on American citizens are way overblown, exaggerated. Politicians are taking advantage of it. The NSA can't defend itself effectively because it can't say what it does. That tells our opposition the same thing. And I think what Clapper is trying to say is that we really need to focus on correcting these deficiencies that allow an Edward Snowden to reveal all of the information he has and the information he still has.
Drill down just a little bit more and just make it basic for people. What have the leaks done to our ability to protect ourselves or national security?
They've revealed a huge amount of the way we conduct intelligence. The sources and methods is the buzz phrase that's used. And the reason that's important is that our adversaries learning about our techniques can make protections against our being able to exploit their vulnerability. So it means a reduction of the intelligence that we will gather in the future. And that's why I think Snowden has caused such damage and why anybody who says he's a whistleblower doesn't understand.
So the threat about al-Qaeda now, obviously this came up, how can it not? Well, what he seemed to be saying is that the threat to Americans here at home has not changed. But over the past 10 years, the threat from al-Qaeda in other parts of the world is the same today as it has been, say, over the past decade. And that is dramatically different from a 2008 and 2012 campaign when the president said al-Qaeda's on the run. How do you square this?
Well, you can't square it. Clapper's statement yesterday I thought was stunning because it is, as you indicate, a flat contradiction of the Obama campaigns of 2012 and 2008. I think Clapper's assessment is accurate. I think it's a different form of al-Qaeda, but it's metastasized and its threat is growing worldwide, as is the threat of other terrorist organizations.
Our inaction in Syria came to light as well. And the suggestion is that the al-Qaeda fighters are in Syria, they're crossing the border into Iraq and back, and they've got a free area to train, to roam, and eventually cause damage. Do you agree with that?
I think that's right. I think this is a result of poor strategy in Iraq, among other things. Our being absent there means that there is sectarian civil war in Iraq. It means the cross-border cooperation between al-Qaeda in Iraq and al-Qaeda in Syria is possible. And I think it's a major contributing factor to a Middle East that's on the verge of spinning completely into chaos.
And when you hear about the claim that al-Qaeda has been splintered, etc.,
look, al-Qaeda was never...
Now we're hearing that they've kind of broken up into 5 different groups and still are as effective as they once were.
Al-Qaeda has never been a corporate hierarchy. It has always been a loosely affiliated group of terrorists. And what we're seeing is that loose affiliation continues even as the so-called core al-Qaeda in Waziristan has been reduced. But the effectiveness of al-Qaeda country by country, I think, has grown all over North Africa and the Middle East.
Just to quote him, al-Qaeda no less a threat than a decade ago. That's from James Clapper just yesterday.
This is a stunning statement by Clapper. Very important.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. John Bolton here in studio.
Thank you, Ben.
Martha, what's